Miller is here. Let's give Mr. Miller a round of applause. Mr. Miller is the co-founder of the museum and the co-founder of the Orphan Car Show along with Randy Mason. Jack's given us 17 long, dedicated, hard-working, more than 40-hour-a-week years. And I want to read, Jack, a proclamation that's issued by the mayor. It says, whereas the city of Ypsilanti wishes to acknowledge and pay tribute to exceptional individuals who set an example and encourage others to strive to improve their community and their surroundings. And whereas Jack Miller, a native of the city of Ypsilanti, began his career working at his father's Hudson car dealership called Miller Motors. After the death of his father, he gained ownership of the dealership and is credited with survival of the last Hudson dealership. And whereas Mr. Miller has been a meaningful impact on the auto industry due to his relationships with great automotive industrial leaders such as former president and CEO of Ford Motor Company, Edsel Ford, Mr. Miller also served as an officer of the Hudson Essex Terraplane Club, and his 100 East Cross Street location became the mailing address for the International Club. And whereas Mr. Miller, who was co-founder of the Ypsilanti Automotive Heritage Museum in 1996, made our car museum and city famous by restoring a Hudson race car that participated in the Daytona Beach parades and was exhibited at NASCAR Hall of Fame. And whereas Mr. Miller authored a book, Total Domination, describing the history of Hudson in NASCAR. And now, therefore, I, Paul T. Schreiber, Mayor of the City of Ypsilanti, do hereby declare Sunday, September the 22nd, 2013, as Jack Miller Day in the City of Ypsilanti, and commend Mr. Miller for his distinguished commitment and wish him the best in years to come. Let's give Jack a round of applause. Is there anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, I could talk for days. The idea behind the museum, Ypsilanti has a lot of good things about it, and most people didn't realize that its gigantic part that it played in the auto industry going back to the 1900s. And so this all came about over a hamburger at the sidetrack with Peter Fletcher and Skip Ungroat. And, later that day, Peter called me and he said, the building next door, he said, make the best deal on it you can make and bind it with $500. And I kind of laughed. And he says, what's funny? And I said, I don't have $500, Peter. Anyways, he said, well, come up to the office in the morning and I'll give you a check to cover it. So within 2 weeks, we owned the building that we call the Kaiser Room. And then 3 years later, Skip and Peter put together, well, all total, we're talking $800,000 to $1 million, $800,000 to $1 million to get that thing up and running. And the museum owns most of the cars that are in there all over. I understand Ron Bloom, who runs it now, is getting cars on loan. But yeah, we've got a great university. It doesn't have a stellar reputation in athletics right now, and then we've got another university in Ann Arbor that gets prime time all the time for football and basketball. So it was the idea that this piece of Ypsi history was here, and just take advantage of it,
I hope that, give Jack a round of applause. As a matter of fact, let's give him a standing ovation round of applause. Come on, guys, up. Give him a standing ovation. If anybody deserves it. Jack was instrumental in doing a lot of things behind the scenes that a lot of us didn't know about, but he got the job done. And that's the bottom line. He got the job done. So we hope that you'll be able to come back in years to come to this Orphan Car Show. Mickey says he's going to motorize that wheelchair with a Hudson 6. So you'll be able to get around pretty good. So is there anything else you want to say?
one thing. There's two gentlemen walking around here. One of them is Bob Stevens, who was the editor of Car and Driver magazine for over 20 years.
Bob's right behind us. Come up here.
I'm sorry, Cars and Parts magazine. The management chose to get rid of that, but Bob early on gave us tons of support, and also right behind these gentlemen, Max Motor City Garage. It's a website. You can go on it all the time and learn all about old cars and new cars and the car industry. And Bill's been a participant and a judge. You know, we like to brag. Our judges are all the members of the automotive media, and they're all put together by Kevin Wilson, who was with Auto Week for many years and is with Car and Driver today. So anyways, he gets about 30 judges, and these guys go out and peruse the cars and come up with the winners, and we're not known as a big trophy show, so that one in every class to have a little fun. Anyways, thanks to these two guys that have given us so much publicity over the years.
Let's give him a round of applause, folks. Thanks, Jack. Thanks for everything. If any of you folks want to visit with Mr. Miller, we'll continue on with the show. Mr. Miller will probably be off on the side of the stage listening, so come up and say hello and congratulate him on 17 wonderful years.
Captain Video, Master of Space, Hero of Science, Captain of the Video